Hello. Today we're going to talk about the back door to mutual trust and respect. How to create mutual trust and respect. The traditional way of creating mutual trust and respect is through people, by telling people to look people in the eye, to speak more nicely, to use better language, to look at other people's perspective, to understand their styles. That's the front door, right? Telling people to trust and respect each other more. What is the back door? The back door is creating an environment where mutual trust and respect is created. So we're not injecting mutual trust and respect. We are actually creating the environment where it can arise on its own. We're tilling the soil so the seeds can generate. It's a big difference. Many organizations misunderstand this concept of mutual trust and respect. I've even seen employees get very mad and say, "Why don't you trust me? You shouldn't be micromanaging me. You should just tell me what to do and let me do it." That's the fastest way to disaster. They're obviously going to make a mistake if we don't give them clear boundaries. And when they make that mistake, what's going to happen in mutual trust and respect? It's going to disappear very fast. It's not an input. Don't expect people to trust and respect you just because you showed up. No, the goal is to create the environment through these boundaries by giving proper assignments, by having proper oversight. So, yes, in this environment, we can trust and respect you. Let me give you a quick understanding of what this looks like. First of all, let's realize that mutual trust and respect is relative. It's not a fixed thing. For example, if you and I are talking about, the weather, right? We can have a wonderful conversation and nobody's going to raise their voices. Now, let's start having a conversation about soccer. Who's your favorite team? Football. Now, let's talk about politics and religion. You see that? We had enough mutual trust and respect to discuss the weather, but now we increased the conflict, the stakes, the tension in our conversation. We're talking about soccer and football, and now we're talking about politics and religion. This mutual trust and respect, which was sufficient to discuss the weather, is no longer sufficient. So the way that we in Adizes build mutual trust and respect is through problem solving. We actually use problem solving as a way to build mutual trust and respect. By having that conversation, by learning from each other how to solve problems, what is the right solution, then we start learning from each other. That increases respect. And when we do what we say we're going to do, when we go out in the field and we implement, that builds trust. So again, the goal of our problem-solving meetings should not be just to solve the problem. In fact, that's not the goal at all. The goal is to build mutual trust and respect. But if we don't show progress on the problem, if we don't show that actual things are happening, what's going to happen to trust? It'll go down very fast. So solving the problem is actually a prerequisite to building mutual trust and respect, which is the goal. That's the back door for building mutual trust and respect. Now, there's a sequence in the problems you should solve. What many organizations do is they have low trust and respect, which is the real problem. That's why they can't solve their own problems. They can't work together. And then that's caused all kinds of bigger problems, like loss of market share, like unclear organizational structure. Everybody's stepping on each other's toes, trying to do the same job. Everybody's fighting. And what do they want to do? They have this much trust and respect, and they want to solve their structural problem. They want to solve their loss of market share. These are big issues. They're like politics, too much to handle. What should you do? Start with the smaller problems. Start with the smaller ones. And by working on those, by having that conversation, these are your operational problems like late delivery times, poor quality products, not collecting money on time, not paying bills on time, not training people correctly, not hiring the right people. These are the smaller issues that you can work together within the lower level of mutual trust and respect. And by having that conversation, what happens to respect? I learned from you. Respect goes up. We ended up implementing. You did what you said you were going to do. What happens to trust? It goes up a little bit, which allows us to work on the next level problem, which allows us to build mutual trust and respect. And now we can build it together. And then we can build mutual trust and respect so we can solve the real big issues. And that's the back door. The front door is, again, team building courses. I take your management team to the mountains, and we have a big you know, meeting, what's called outdoor courses. I give you all kinds of obstacles that no individual can overcome on their own. We have to climb a wall that's too high, and we have to work together to overcome that wall. Wonderful. At the end of the day, what happens to mutual trust and respect? It goes up significantly. What's the problem? Is that we are outside of our working environment, and people are a product of their environment. I took you out of your environment. I took you to the mountains, a new environment, and you change your behavior. Wonderful. What happens Monday morning when you come back to your old environment? Very quickly, your behavior goes back. So rather than changing, taking people out of their environment, in order to give them challenges, by the way, that the logic is sound. Out there on the mountaintop, we gave them challenges that no individual could overcome on their own. And by working together to overcome those challenges, what happened? They built mutual trust and respect. Wonderful. It wasn't sustainable because it was outside the working environment. So why should we take your people out of the working environment to build mutual trust and respect, to find obstacles that no individual can overcome on their own when we have plenty of them right here in the company, right here in the office? What are those obstacles called? They're called problems. And by using those problems as your team building mechanism, that's the back door to building mutual trust and respect.